Welcome. Great to have you here. This is a unique moment, a moment that unites all of us. We all face anxiety and loss. We all see broken systems. We all experience the impact of the climate crisis. This is a unique moment. This is a turning point if we choose to make it one. This is a moment to reflect, to learn, to share, and to co-create. And I invite you to contribute. I ask you to contribute. I ask you to partner to fix broken systems. I ask you to join the movement so everyone can step into their change-making power. I ask you to nominate the next generation of changemakers. And I ask you to share your wisdom, your knowledge, your expertise. And I ask you to donate to support changemakers. This is our moment to fix the world. This is our moment to contribute. Today is the day, and you are the one.
Hello. So I guess we can start now the session. We just seen the introduction video by Mary Wingler, Ashoka Europe. And I would like to welcome all the participants of this session. I know that among the participants, we have several Ashoka fellows that we have invited who have seen this, and it's by the visit itself expressed interest in localization of their practices in different countries, because we will be talking about localization here. I would like to thank you for coming, and thank Marie, who I hope she is also with us already. And I will just say a couple of words about the organization I represent and the plan for this session. So I addressed you from Russia, from Moscow, where we have organized, we have this organization called Soul Center. It exists since 6 years already, for 6 years already, and it was created to develop to promote social entrepreneurship in Russia. We try to identify change makers in Russia and different solutions for change makers, and can let them meet. So we work on networking, and we support investors, and we also invest in social enterprises ourselves. So what we really like in this work is that we see so many great people changing the world in Russia, trying to make life of people better. And we have seen a lot of great examples in Russia, but we also have seen a lot of great examples in other countries. And we dream about this world where change makers from different countries can exchange their experience, can share the best practices, and can localize their solutions in different countries, so that change makers from Russia can can be present in different countries with their ideas, and also change makers from other countries can scale their impact to Russia too. So the idea of this session today was to show several cases where Ashoka Fellows localize their solutions in Russia, and we will hear 3 examples of localization, and we'll try to understand what problems they have met here when localizing, and what opportunities they have been through have kind of identified when localizing in Russian. When preparing for this session, we have run several events in Russia with different change makers and students and people in school and all different people, and trying to see how they look at localization of foreign practices in Russia and what problems they see. So, for example, we had these battles of Russian case against foreign case, trying to understand how they meet. And for example, we had the cycling without age, um, uh, battling with like a Russian audience. Let's say see how we can localize it, and we also compared with participation of students projects Talentify from Austria with the Russian equivalent, and try to see the pluses and minuses of these solutions and which one will get more success if implemented in Russian. And we also had the ecological discussion around recycling utilization of tissue with Japan from Japan, Ashoka Fellow from Japan. And so then we ask everybody to answer several questions about how they see localization. And we saw that more than half of people said that, well, around half of people said that language is the key problem when localizing a foreign solution. And in half of people also said that the problem is in local regulation, which is different from country to country. And but about 70% also identified cultural issues, cultural differences as the key problem that stops foreign solutions to be localized in Russia specifically. This is very interesting, and we want to kind of develop this this question in presentations by people who localized Ashoka Fellows projects in Russia. As now we will proceed to our speakers. I will briefly present each of our speakers. So we have Yulia Yankel from Russian Slow Food movement, and she has participated in localization of slow food movement in Russia, in like gathering people. Well, she will tell a bit about this. And we have Alyona Markovich from Teach for Russia, which is a local, like Russian version of Teach for All from the United States, also an Ashoka Fellow. And she will tell about her experience in Russia. And we also have Anatoly Popko, who took a very important role in localization of Dialogues in the Dark, the project which like who like the blind people, and well, he will tell a little bit more about the project himself. So I now pass the word to Yulia Yankel, who, as I said, as language is one of the key issues with localization. We will have Yulia who be with interpreter, and we will hear a short presentation, which will be done by the interpreter. Wait, just there is one thing which I which we wanted to do in the very beginning, before we even start the presentations, is to ask you we like to make this session a little bit interactive, and I will ask Alexei to run this short quiz, short question, ask a question, which you will answer using the modern high-tech technologies. So, Alexei, over to you.
Hello, everyone, from my kitchen. It's nice to be here. And basically, we saw that a lot of people started saying hello with different places they are from. So basically, we can see the tag cloud using the link on Menti. You can go to this link and write the country where I'm from, where I now, and we can see after you submit your answer what could be the whole picture of people who are presented here. Yeah, so I'll share my screen just to show you this. Yeah, I see Austria, and you will see it right now. Yeah, so Andrew, can you see my screen? Just
yes.
Okay, cool. So basically, Geneva, Austria. I already seen one message from Barcelona, actually. That was in Russian, so it's a pleasure. Okay, we see France, Sweden. Nice. Denmark. I guess it's Ole Castle, maybe. From Canada, but in Berlin, so it's mixed. Yeah, okay, so we'll wait just for 10 seconds more, and after that we can see the whole picture. Andrew, the floor is yours. Yes. If you want to comment on something.
Yeah, we will also come back to this to ask you another question at the end of the session today. So, but now, as I said, we will pass the floor to Yulia Yankel, and please tell us about the slow food movement in Russia and how it was localized.
Hello to everyone. I'm going to speak on behalf of Yulia Yakel, sorry. The most part of my life, I've been protecting the ecological rights of citizens and indigenous people's rights. I am a lawyer. Once I was invited to take part in an educational project devoted to ecological agriculture in Russia. And there I learned about international movement Slow Food for the first time. Its ideas, philosophy completely coincide with my thinking. And I was very amazed by the variety of creative projects related to protection of human rights on healthy food. And I asked myself, why I didn't know about this movement earlier, and why am I not yet with them? Because it's really one of the most serious problems of the planet's ecology is industrial agriculture. Our society has received overstocking of markets and at the same time three main problems: products stuffed with chemistry, the reduction of agricultural biodiversity, and environmental pollution. For example, the most important sources of water pollutant in many countries are not cities or production sector, but industrial agriculture. And there is the fact that the most common contaminants found in subsoil water all over the world are agricultural nitrates. Over the past 100 years, 75% of agricultural plant varieties and 33% of livestock breeds have been lost in the world. In Russia, animal husbandry in the 20th century has lost half of domestic breeds. Just think, 3/4 of the world's food system uses only 12 crops, and 5 domesticated animal species. It's extremely small figures. In addition to the loss of agrobiodiversity, we are losing our traditional food, which were inherited from our ancestors and have been tested by them in practice for centuries. Health, taste, local economies, and environmental problems take a back seat because economic conditions of production dominate today. Please look at just one fact. A large increase in diseases of the gastrointestinal tract and allergies, especially among young people in mega cities where there is a dominance of a fast food. By eating industry produced food, we are slowly destroying not only our health, but the health of future generations. When I joined the Russia Slow Food movement, which has been developing in Russia since 2003, it was disparate. But I saw the philosophy of slow food in bringing together different people of different professions, from farmers to doctors. And together with like-minded people, we have developed our Russian projects such as Tasty, Clean and Honest Food is Our Right and Future for farmers, Tasty Lessons for pupils, vegetable gardening on the windsill, gastronomic expedition in search of the lost, food festival of indigenous peoples. And in the end of 2018, we have established all Russian NGO, Slow Food in Russia, which unites 45 different regions. Our task is to change the attitude of people towards food products, the ways of growing and preparing them. The difficulties that we faced. The first problem is financing. In contrast with the other countries where the slow food lives owing to membership fees, it's still impossible here. Our agricultural producers are not ready today to pay to support this ideology. On the contrary, we want to give them something so that they can preserve the production of the national product and wealth. For example, the Vyazemsky cake or some breed of chickens. We try to raise funds for certain projects. Sometimes we succeed and it works. For example, we wanted so much to publish a book about endangered foods, breeds and varieties of Russia, but failed in fundraising. But we succeeded in raising funds for the festival Mother Earth Indigenous People Fish. And in frames of the received budget for festival, we have published the desired book. Fundraising in Russia requires creativity. We are still investing our own funds and are looking for people, organizations, donors who can share our views, who can help develop the movement in Russia. And the second difficulty is that in contrast with Europe, organic agriculture is poorly developed in Russia. A lot of greenwashing, falsifications, and the mass consumer knows this, sees the prices, and doesn't want vote with the wallet. Also, the demand for such products is great, as well as the interest to national food. Realized opportunities. So what we have so far as today. First, a regional network has been established and we united 45 regions. Second, the first book, The Art of Taste, has been published. Yes, where we speak about 100 products, disappearing products and disappearing domestic breeds. Third, successful experience has been accumulated in the implementation of children's study programs for the education of taste according to the slow food methodology. Fourth, we have selected and labeled a dozen restaurants that meet the slow food criteria. And the aim is to join Slow Food Travel International Project and to compile a catalog of slow food places. Interaction. Our organization, so we are trying to be very brief and just the couple of sentences left. So our organization has the agreement with Slow Food International with the right to present interest and use the brand. We cooperate with Slow Food Germany, United States, Japan, Belarus, and Kazakhstan. We have ideas and projects ready for implementation. We invite everyone who shares our principles to participate in our and possibly in your projects. I would like to end my brief speech with words of the Slow Food president, Carlo Petrini, about industrial food mega producers. They are giants, but we are multitude. Together we can change the world. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Yulia, and thank you for the interpreter. If you have any questions to the speakers, please write them in the section questions, and we will have a special time for the discussion for the questions in the end of this session. So I can see that we have a movement here. Like we have this is not a project like we will talk about Dialogues in the Dark, for example, which is a for-profit. After all, it's a for-profit project in at least in a part of it. So do you? I will ask a very short questions like right after your presentation. Maybe this will be a question to answer in the second part. You will have time to answer and translate. The question is, what is the specifics of a movement? What do you need to localize a movement, and who do you need to localize a movement? Like, what was the success factor to make it successful in Russia to localize the movement? Okay, I will probably we will keep this question until after all the three speakers finished with their presentations. So now I move to Alena Markovich, who will talk about Teach for Russia as a part of Teach for All community in the global community of Teach for All. So please, Alena, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and hi everybody. Thanks a lot for the opportunity to share our experience. I will demonstrate my screen because I have a short presentation. Just a moment. Can you see my screen?
Yes, it's perfectly.
Yeah, okay. I will give just a little bit of a context of who we are and what we are doing, and we'll try to focus more on opportunities and barriers. Teach for Russia is really a localization of Teach for All international model, which is active now in almost 60 countries in the world on all continents. And because we're in close connection to all these countries, we really kind of can compare our experience of localization with the experience of other countries. So what we're doing in short, all of our programs, and in Russia as well, we are addressing the issue of education and equity of kids. Russia is a very uneven country in terms of quality of life when it comes from region to region. And the problem is that the access of children to high quality education is highly dependent on the place of birth of a child and on the welfare of family, on social capital of family. So we're trying to address this issue by recruiting top talent throughout the country of people with mostly no teaching degrees, but they are great professionals that can bring fresh air and new perspective to schools. We train them as teachers, and we place them as regular teachers for at least 2 years to work in low-income communities to under-resourced schools. And we use this 2 years experience not just a teacher replacement thing, but also as an opportunity to build professional community of people who are really aware of what's going on in schools in the regions, who are motivated to do everything that is required for kids and who have resources, networks to change things after they finish this 2 years fellowship. So this is in short what we're doing. And I will start with opportunities, like what opportunities we've seen in Russia while localizing. The first thing I think is that actually there is low level of competition and social innovation in Russia. There is a lot to be done in different social problems. And for example, when we started 5 years ago, we were the only one initiative in Russia that actually addressed this problem, that recruited teachers to schools in rural areas, in small towns, though the demand for that is enormous. And I think it is true for many spheres when we analyze different social aspects in the country. So when there is this low level of competition, it means that we do not have to compete for public attention. We do not have to, we have kind of easy way to attract people who are really indifferent to this course, to this specific course. And when it comes, for example, to investments, to donors, we kind of create a new segment of donations, because previously maybe some donors were indifferent to this course, but they just didn't have opportunity to invest in it. The other opportunity, I think, is relevant for the project like ours, that are very dependent on government support. Because we work with public school systems, we are really dependent on government support. And I think it's important to mention that very often Russia is seen as a very centralized country. It is true. But what we've seen in our experience is that the regional governments have lots of autonomy, at least in education sphere and social sphere. They are quite autonomous in decision-making, on choosing partnerships, on allocating budgets. And in our case, it gave us opportunity to start this initiative, even though we didn't have strong support on the federal level, on the level of federal ministry. And actually, federal ministry saw many risks in what we were doing and were cautious about what we were doing. But we could find connections with regional governments and find real partners among them, with partners who share our values, our approaches, our vision. The last opportunity I want to tell about, I think, is kind of flexibility that is in place in Russia. I think that we have sometimes really strict regulations on paper, but in practice, when it comes to practice, we see that there is theory and practice, and in reality, everything can be not that strict. And this, I think, an opportunity. For example, if we come to the experience of other countries that try to localize Teach for All, they faced a big problem with teacher unions, right? Because teacher unions can be very powerful in some countries. In Russia, we have teacher unions, but they are not that active, so we just didn't have this obstacle. Or, for example, like the difficulty of our model is that we place to schools teachers with no teacher degrees, with no teacher certification. And in some countries, it takes years to lobby the very opportunity to place teachers, with no teaching degrees to schools. In Russia, it also took some time and partnerships, but still I can compare that it was much, much easier to solve. Now coming to barriers. For me, 5 years ago, when we just were starting this initiative, it was a great surprise to realize that international affiliation can be seen by some key stakeholders not as an advantage, but as a threat. So when we were starting, we first were really emphasizing our international connections. We were partnering with international consultancy, Boston Consulting Group. We were going to become official partners with Teach for All Network. But then when we launched, we got really bad coverage from central media channels on this. There were allegations of us as foreign agents trying to do some bad things in Russian education. And we got feedback from local authorities and from local teachers that this is a risky situation. So we had to completely reposition and refuse from official partnership with Teach for All. So the big learning for me out of this is that Russian society nowadays is kind of fragmented in terms of perceptions, values, benchmarks, and it's really a thing to consider how to position this, international links in Russian society nowadays. The other thing is the culture of so-called top-down management and system of governance in the country. So when we were starting 5 years ago, we were purely a very small grassroots initiative. And when we had our first negotiations with public schools, at some point we realized that for them it's such a new experience to get into partnership with a grassroots initiative that they just couldn't understand who we are and how can we be responsible for what we are doing, because they just don't have this experience. And in the end, we realized that to start big and to be able to scale, we need to partner with very well-established, strong partners, like, for example, the biggest bank in the country or the top university in the country, to really stand on the shoulders of these giants and have a strong reputation backup so that for schools, we would be a clear partner. And this was a crucial point for us to launch. And here comes the third barrier I want to mention, and it's the opposite side of the medal of the same thing. So I think in Russia there is this culture that if I'm a big established organization that is supporting a new emerging grassroots initiative, I kind of tend to dominate, intervene, control risks, rather than grow, support, and give this initiative time to, work out its model and understand, realize, articulate its identity. And this is not, this can be not healthy. At the same time, seems that it happens because also there is just lack of experience of such partnerships on all sides, and people just learning by doing, but it takes a lot of energy from the project. These are main things that I wanted to share. We'll be open to your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alena. Yeah, we already received some questions, but let's move back to these questions right after all the presentations. So now I would like to invite here Anatoly Popko, who with Tobias Reisner, who have moved localized dialogues in the dark into the Russian reality. Anatoly, please tell us about your experience and what were the opportunities and obstacles that you have encountered here in Russia.
Sure, I'll try to do my best. Well, good afternoon to all of you. Thanks a lot, first of all, to the Soul Center for this opportunity to actually talk and present our case. And again, I wanted to second our moderator, Andrew, that Tobias Reisner is also present here. So he is the person behind the Dialogue in the Dark localization to Russia. So if there are questions directly related to that process, he may be the one, better maybe handling those. And I will concentrate instead on what has grown from that Dialogue in the Dark business workshop initiative. And my short presentation is basically called, People in Initiative. So People in is a name. Initiative is basically a broad word for various types of activities. So People in Initiative, reflecting Russian accessibility. I'd like to start by saying a few words about myself. Anatoly is my first name, Popko is my last name, Russian, although it may sound a little bit, Ukrainian, I'm Russian. I went totally blind at the age of 12, and now I'm 38. So I lead Russian Dialogue in the Dark team and, take part in that People in initiative. So being a blind person, I deeply believe that any blind person is not born to be disabled. We can and must educate ourselves, get employed, and become generally useful. So that's my deepest belief. Um, First time I stumbled across Dialogue in the Dark business workshops in 2011, and I became instantly fascinated with the project because of basically three factors, so to say. The Dialogue in the Dark workshop is an impressive project. It's international project with a very strong and successful family of professionals all around the globe. So international part was very much appealing. Behind the Dialogue in the Dark business workshop, there is a well-developed technology, and the exercises themselves, training exercises, they are marvelous. That's for sure. And the third idea that that was very much appealing is that a lot of potential, a lot of business opportunities for a motivated blind individual. So that those three combined, and DID was a thing to invest my efforts. Eventually, I helped to form DID Moscow team, organized initial training, and even became the first internationally certified DSE Dialogue Social Enterprise. That's the mother organization. So I became the first internationally certified DID trainer. Then I had to step away for about 5 years and returned to the Dialogue in the Dark project in 2017, so as a project leader. And the more broad initiative that we're talking about now, people in, or люди in, люди is people, so in Russian, it started basically in 2015. Now let me tell a few words about the people in initiative itself. So basically, people in initiative encompasses a lot of activities. The core, the core, the core activity is still a Dialogue in the Dark business workshops, but we tend to diversify. So business workshops and DID team eventually became a part of Ostrovsky Museum. And the Ostrovsky Museum is a cultural institution of the city of Moscow. So we operate under the Department of Culture of the city of Moscow. We have a very strong government support. And we try to diversify, to actually grow a lot of branches. So we conduct a lot of events. We try to attract the general public with, say, with events like concerts in the dark. So we organize and conduct concert in the dark. We have theater in the dark. We also have, even since recently actually, we have quiz in the dark, which we tend to call somewhat playfully game in the dark. So, but basically that's a quiz. And so that diversification attracts more attention on behalf of general public and gives us an opportunity to partner with other Moscow organizations that, for instance, provide us with musical content for our concerts in the dark. So concert in the dark is nowadays is a registered trademark. So that those various events is, so to say, number one. And number two, there is an entire business business process behind it. And we, the ID team, so 7 totally blind individuals, totally blind employees, and 1 our sighted assistant, we conduct the entire business process, starting with the landing page development, starting with the social, networks presence. We meet with clients, take care of all the accompanying legal documents, and we do all this kind of fun stuff. And of course, every step of the way is cluttered with accessibility, with barriers, which both relate to the attitude and to the environment. And we try to overcome those, barriers. We either find a solution, workable solution, or try to find some workaround. And of course, that might be even more important. We try to attract a lot of attention to accessibility, to people with to persons with disabilities, and our my passion is digital accessibility. But generally, we promote the equality of opportunities and digital accessibility. We act both as experts and public advocates. And you see, we we are sort of forced to be advocates and raise awareness because we really need the accessible environment because we want our CRM, client relationship program, management program, to be accessible. We need project management tools, financial and accounting services, every all those fun stuff need to be accessible just in order for us to operate successfully. And the core idea behind my today's talk is that the people in initiative can act and serve some kind of an indicator how accessible the environment is to persons with disabilities in the broadest sense. Like, is there enough public tolerance? Is the corporate sector ready to accept world-class business workshop from the disabled personnel? Well, given that we do not really screw up the franchise technology, which I hope we don't screw up actually. Can the team of blind and visually impaired people meet standard office employee requirements? Other accessible solutions for independent office work? Can the project be economically sustainable? That's basically one of the key questions. Solutions and why we actually how we exist and why we survive. As I mentioned, we operate under Ostrovsky Museum, which is under the Department of Culture of Moscow, and it does provide government involvement and ensures economic stability to the product, to the people in initiative residents. As I mentioned, the DID team consists of 8 persons, and we also have a lot more residents. We have deaf and hard of hearing artists, mimes, and we even have a nationally recognized pool coach, and he uses a wheelchair. So there is a bunch of us actually, not only blind but also hard of hearing deaf persons, person on wheelchairs, and so on. And presently we have a unique corporate experience. So we more or less know how to operate a mixed team in local, in current Russian environment, so to say. Insights, probably I wanted to share a few ideas.
We're running short of time, but you have probably 1 minute left.
Okay, great. So we wouldn't have survived the pandemic had our project not been related to the city museum. We attract a lot more attention as active professional people rather than corporate training center. Digital accessibility sphere is arguably, might provide more financial sustainability than, say, corporate events in darkness and, this kind of stuff. I think that some of our activities may present a very good opportunity for impact investors. And of course, I might want to be more precise and say a few more details about that, but I will probably thank you for your attention, and will be answering your questions if any arise. And again, I repeat, there is a Tobias Reisner who knows how to localize this project into the Russian environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Anatoly. Thank you very much. It's a great story. I really admire the project. I have participated in several events with Dialogues in the Dark, and I think it's really great experience. So we already have some questions in the chat. If you have questions, please write them in the question sections. One of the questions came from Marie Ringler. It's for Yulia about how we need to change business models when localizing the project. Yes. Please switch on your microphone.
Ну, если я правильно понимаю вопрос, то пока сложно сказать, как применить эту бизнес-модель.
Yes, if I correctly understood the question, I'd like to say that now it's hard to estimate how to do it immediately in Russian
У
Federation.
России всегда особый путь.
Because we always have our own way.
Пока мы пробуем разные вариации.
So far, we try to test different approaches.
Но прежде нужны финансы, конечно, для популяризации движения.
But of course, for the popularization, for localization of this movement in Russia, we need funds to do that.
Российские проекты и привлекать внимание.
So that we will be able to organize all over Russia projects and to attract investors and the people who think as we're thinking.
Мы рассчитываем на поиски больших команд, но для этого нужна реклама движения.
So we think about finding big groups of people and some serious groups of people, but of course we need some advertising and promotion.
So the existing the business models that are used by the movement in other countries, they don't apply directly. They don't work in Russia.
Ну, пока как бы это гибридная форма.
Now it's like a hybrid.
Во всем мире, конечно, первое это членские взносы, второе это проект.
Because first is the first source of income is the fees of membership fees, and the second is the project activities.
Титульные спонсоры.
And some targeted donors.
Пока вот, да, пробуем.
So we try to find different ways how to do it.
Okay. Let me ask one question to Aliona or Fedor Sheberstov, who also is here, who was one of these people who organized Teach for Russia projects in Russia. There is a discussion in the chat about grassroots initiatives and initiatives, these top-down initiatives. Can you comment on this? Because we as a Soul Center, we have done this research on change makers, and we see just thousands of initiatives from like grassroots and not necessarily from top down. Of course, there are these big ones, but do you see that they like ones or others they win, or who have more opportunity for the future? Should we just stop thinking about the grassroots opportunities, or we just stick to the governmental ideas? Aliona?
I can comment, and maybe then Fedor will join me, because this was like initially my thought. I think that it's really like we also are a grassroots initiative. I'm not saying that they don't exist or something. I'm saying that in our experience again, and I think it's very it depends a lot on the sphere. Like when we are talking about such politically sensible sphere as public schools, yeah, this is one thing. Maybe in some other sectors it works in a different way. But I think also when we are talking about scaling this, yes, and when we are talking about partnerships with public institutions on a systemic level, then again, from our experience for grassroots initiative, it can be really difficult without these strong partnerships and support. This is how I see it. Maybe Fedor will have another opinion.
No, I can just agree. And Alena is an excellent example of this grassroots initiative. It was her initiative. And of course, it's very difficult to work in education, which is, of course, 99% government owned and ruled. And you should do this in the close cooperation, but you cannot get this, energy and all this without this particular social entrepreneur. And it's about, a difference in different in regions, different in schools, different in all, circumstances. You cannot just do it centralized from, Kremlin or anybody else. So the secret, the key for success is this cooperation of social entrepreneurs and in the case of education with the government bodies.
Great. Okay. Thank you Fedor. Yeah, I see that you need both. Like you cannot just look at grassroots initiatives, or when you want to scale, you need to have you need to work with the government in any case, because it is their territory mostly. So, and I have a question for Anatoly. I heard that in your story that you have this you have diversified the products that you provide, and does this go abroad? I mean, do your new products that you offer here in Russia, do they are they implemented also in other countries? Is there this exchange of experience? How does it work?
Well, frankly, not that I know of. I'm not sure. I think People In is currently working only in Russia.
So and all these new products like games in the dark, etc., it stays here.
For the time being, yes, but we certainly wouldn't be against promoting it to other countries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And one more short question for you also. Do you think that for at least for the project like Dialogues in the Dark, you need a master franchise for Russia, which will then create their franchise places in other cities in Russia, or it should work directly from other countries, from the mother company?
Well, I think that mother franchise company can be a good solution, because there are already organizations and persons who try to copy the initiative, and it's kind of difficult to see that abroad. And I think it would be a lot easier. It may be a lot easier, if we actually try to steer it from Moscow, from Russia at least. But that's an idea, not a well thought through solution.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Andrew, just in terms of caring of time, we have like 5 minutes before we close.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
I actually, if I don't know if Yulia can answer. There is another question was about how Russia is influencing the agricultural sector and how it is affecting your ability to implement slow food in Russia. If we can Jess, if you can answer this in just like 30 seconds, 1 minute, and then we will get to close.
Да, ну здесь, наверное, надо сказать, что, во-первых, за несколько лет удалось пролоббировать принятие закона об
So here we
органическом
have
сельском
to
хозяйстве.
say that during the past years we succeeded in lobbying the federal law on organic agriculture.
В этом году он вступил в силу,
And yes, they put in force this law this year.
но пока из-за пандемии невозможно применить.
But unfortunately, because of pandemic situation, it's impossible to implement it.
Да, и у людей, у народа растет понимание и желание есть чистое питание и местные породы, местные сорта.
And when we can see that there is a big awareness raising among common people, they want to eat healthy food.
И мы считаем, что мы на это воздействовали.
And we think that we impacted somehow to this understanding of the health food and the slow food in general, and the ideas of slow food movement.
Я ответила на вопрос.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think this is a good answer for the time limit that we have. Thank you very much. Yes, it is. I think we now can get to summarize a little bit what we've heard. I would say that we have seen that the different projects have different problems in Russia. We, as our survey, the questionnaire that we had before showed that cultural problem is a very important part, but it's not every participant have mentioned this. Some of people have purely financial problems because the business models that work in other countries don't want to work in Russia for various reasons. There is also a lot of influence of government in the social sector because it is the area where government rules. If you want to scale your project, if you want to scale the impact, you need to work with government constructively. You need to lobby a new law or find a very strong partner. But then you can experience some difficulties because this partner is like structured differently. I mean, they work with like this top-down approach, and you may have problems. But at the same time, there is so much opportunities in these new markets because there is a lot to do. The social services are not at their best today. There are so many problems that you can solve, and if you have a entrepreneurial solution for this, if you have a product to solve these problems, then it seems like there is a lot of opportunity to scale the product and scale the impact of your project in Russia. Also you have sometimes you can find very good partners among government bodies of different kinds, like regional authorities or centralized authorities in Russia, and this can be helpful for scaling your project within Russia or where you want to localize it. Before we close, I mean, I want to thank everybody who participated, and I want to thank all the speakers, and I want to thank you and ask you, what do you feel about this meeting, about this session? I will ask Alexei to send a new time the link to Menti, where you can vote to answer very, very shortly a couple of questions about how you feel after this session. And then also Alexei will send you a link to a questionnaire with a little bit of of not feedback, but with your contacts if you want to continue discussion about localization of your project in Russia, because we will see now whether participants are ready to localize their project in Russia, and we will see if you want to come to Russia, or if you want to learn more about our experience of localization, please please fill the questionnaire that Alexei have sent to you, to the chat. There is a Google form in the chat that you can just click.
Yeah, but people right now just seeing the screen with immediate feedback window. So yeah, I've sent all the information, and thank you very much. This was like gathering near fireside, and thank you really for openness. We see some questions that were in the air, but in terms of time, we didn't answered them. So please feel free to send direct messages and see what's going next in sessions. As Marie recommended in chat, please go to other sessions. So the time is up. This is
thank you very much
for saying goodbye.
Yes, thank you very much for those who visited this session, and see you at other sessions. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Все, выключайся.